Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I'm really excited to be with you today because we are diving into a truly game-changing source document. This completely redefines how for sale by owner, or FSBO, transactions actually work. If you've ever looked at the traditional real estate model and thought, there's gotta be a smarter, more efficient way to handle an open house without giving up control of my property, well, you are in the exact right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, a better way to sell. 2, the open house exchange. 3, preparing your home. 4, hosting the perfect event. And finally, 5, mastering the follow-up.
So, for decades, homeowners have faced this massive core dilemma. On one hand, you want to save money, right? You want to maintain total control of your sale by doing it all yourself. But on the other hand, you desperately want the professional support, the marketing reach, and just the sheer foot traffic that comes with a full-service real estate agent. It's always felt like this really rigid binary choice. You either do it completely alone, or you hand over the keys and a hefty commission. But what if that binary choice is actually a total false alarm?
Let's move right into Section 1, a better way to sell, redefining the FSBO dilemma. First things first, we absolutely have to bust a really common myth. The myth is that accepting any kind of help from a real estate or mortgage professional automatically means you've hired them to list your home. But the fact, and this is clearly outlined in our source material, is that you can accept professional open house assistance without ever signing a listing agreement. The homeowner keeps complete 100% control of the sale.
Now, to really get why you'd want this help, just look at what usually goes wrong when you try to sell completely alone. A traditional FSBO open house is frankly plagued by missed buyer opportunities. Visitors just wander in and walk right back out. There's a total lack of financing support to tell buyers what they can actually afford. The follow-up is totally unorganized, and ultimately, it just leads to wasted buyer traffic. Uncollected names and unaddressed financing questions literally equal lost sales. We really need a solution to these exact pain points.
Which brings us to Section 2, the open house exchange, a win-win partnership.
So the crucial point is this definition right here. The professional open house exchange is a fair value system. It gives you, the FSBO seller, professional preparation, serious buyer engagement, and organized follow-up. But here is the absolute magic of it. You trade this professional support for giving those professionals access to your unused buyer opportunities. Think about it. If 5 people walk through your door, only 1 might actually buy your house, right? Well, the realtor and lender are there to help the other 4 with their future housing and financing needs.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that partnership flows. You start way at the top is the homeowner, moving into a formal planning meeting where shared expectations are set right out of the gate. From there, you execute the professional open house, which creates a vastly superior buyer experience. And it all funnels down into respectful, permission-based follow-up. It's literally a pipeline built on mutual benefit. Okay, now let's clarify who pays for what. Because there's a big myth out there that professionals are just going to pay for all the advertising in this setup. The fact is, the professionals are contributing their time, their deep expertise, and their existing systems in exchange for those buyer introductions. However, hard costs, so we're talking things like paid social media ads, direct mail, or hiring a professional photographer, those require the homeowner's prior budget approval. You only pay for the outside marketing you explicitly authorize. So, with that partnership structured, we can focus on execution.
Let's dive into Section 3, preparing your home, from lived-in to listed.
There's a standout piece of advice from the text that I absolutely love, and it says, buyers don't pay more for clutter, they pay more for space. It is so simple but just profoundly true. Removing your personal items, the family photos, the excess furniture, it doesn't just make the house cleaner. It actually frees up the mental space for buyers to imagine themselves living there, which, at the end of the day, is what actually sells the property.
The source actually gives us this brilliant chronological playbook to make this happen without, completely losing your mind. 4 weeks out, you're tackling decluttering and those pesky minor repairs. 2 weeks out, you do the real deep clean and staging. 1 week before, you're just doing a final polish. Setting these milestones drastically reduces your stress leading up to listing day. It ensures that when those front doors open, the house is absolutely show-ready.
And when you look at the estimated costs for all this preparation, what's really encouraging is that the absolute highest impact improvement, decluttering, costs absolutely nothing. $0. Deep cleaning might run you a few $100 if you hire it out, and basic landscaping is incredibly affordable. These are low-cost, high-impact improvements that will significantly boost a buyer's perception of the home's overall value.
Now, before we move on to the actual event itself, let's dismantle one more piece of skepticism. It's so easy to think, well, a professional open house is basically just me opening the front door, but maybe with better signs out in the yard. Nope, not true. The fact is, the real value is the strategic system behind it all, the meticulous preparation, the formal registration of the buyers, and the relentless follow-up. This perfectly sets the stage for the day of the event.
All right, Section 4, hosting the perfect event. Clear roles and responsibilities.
The secret sauce to a perfect event. It's clearly defined roles. Everyone just stays in their lane. As the homeowner, you talk about the property history and the neighborhood, because honestly, nobody knows the home better than you do. The realtor handles all the market data and the presentation, and the mortgage lender, they handle the financing and buying power. This separation of duties just drastically reduces your anxiety as the seller and builds massive confidence for the buyer.
And having that lender present is absolutely crucial because of another really common misconception. People think buyers get their financing sorted out after finding a home. In reality, having a lender right there helps buyers understand their buying power immediately. Actually, a lot of buyers are much closer to being able to afford a home than they think. Learning that on the spot transforms them from just casual lookers into serious, motivated prospects.
And you capture those serious prospects right at the registration station. This isn't just your standard generic sign-in sheet on a clipboard. It collects names, contact info, whether they already have a realtor, and their interest in financing. It's a fully permission-based system that turns anonymous, wandering visitors into highly organized, actionable opportunities for your whole team. Let's move to and see how this builds into our final and arguably most critical phase.
Section 5, Mastering the Follow-Up, the Real Value.
I want to anchor this section with this really powerful quote, straight from the text. A successful open house isn't measured by how many people walk through the front door. It's measured by what happens after they leave. The actual fortune, for both you and the professionals helping you out, is found entirely in the structured follow-up.
This brings us right back to the core mechanic of the exchange. A common myth is that if a buyer doesn't purchase your specific home, they're basically useless to you. And actually, scratch that, while that might technically be true for you as the seller, the fact is they are still active buyers who need homes or financing. Those leftover buyers are exactly why the realtor and lender are there, providing their professional expertise to you for free.
But listen, the source document doesn't mess around here. It is very strict about how this follow-up actually happens. The standards require first contact within 24 hours, but it absolutely must be permission-based only. And if a buyer comes in and says, hey, I already have a realtor, the team respects that completely and directs them right back to their own agent. It ensures buyers get really helpful information without ever feeling pressured or poached.
Now, if you are ever asked a difficult question during the event, you literally only need to remember one single sentence. That's a great question. Let me introduce you to the person who specializes in that. This one phrase embodies the confidence, the structure, and the absolute ease of the entire professional open house exchange model. You literally never have to answer a question you aren't comfortable with. You just point them to the expert standing right across the room.
We've seen how this entire system transforms what is usually a chaotic, solo endeavor into a highly organized, professional event where everybody wins. The tools, the structure, and the partnerships are all right there for the taking. So, I'll leave you with this final thought to consider. Armed with this strategy, are you ready to take control of your sale?